Dynamic duo here. How's everybody doing today?
Peace, evening, people.
Good. So today is going to be a rant, and not rant so much, but just to talk about kids programs in the martial arts today. How you have all these people coming out of the woodworks and sharing their programs to help you gain more revenue in your school, and how this is affecting the martial arts, and is it a good thing, is it a bad thing? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. First things first is, just because somebody's selling you a product that's going to make you more revenue in your school, definitely do your homework. And just because it's world renowned, it just means there's a world full of idiots that have jumped on the board to be a part of it. It doesn't mean that because it's world renowned means it's any good. It just means there's more people out there that have fallen into the trap of being part of a program that really shouldn't be part of a program. There are good things and bad things about it, but for me personally, something that's been developed as far as martial arts goes, something that has been developed for 1,500 years or 2,000 years or however old your system is, if it ain't broke,
why fix it?
Don't fix it. Obviously, it's been working for that long, and it's been teaching people real martial arts. And the fact is, kids need to be disciplined, and they need to work. And it's just something that's a fact of life, you know. So we don't want to fall into that. Oh, you know, everybody needs to be pushed through, and everybody needs to be babied. It just creates weakness, and that's something that we don't want to do. So go ahead, shoot.
I think. And it's my opinion.
Mark Albert. Is that Mark Albert?
It's Lauscher.
Lauscher, how are you?
How you doing, Lauscher? I think it is my opinion that a lot of these programs and things are happening because a lot of instructors are in the schools.
Clint, how are you?
And they're unfamiliar.
Mark, how are you?
How to interact with children, first of all. So if you can't really interact with a child, it's hard to teach them anything, not just martial arts. You know, and for the same thing, if you use football, soccer, baseball, you know, you don't see any of those kind of teaching programs in sports. The kids go there, they learn the sports. There's no special way to teach them this, and you know, they have to get it in there and get grimy and work
get grimy
with it and work the drills. And that's the way they get better at sports. And here's something that parents do never, ever, ever want to hear about their child. Ever. Maybe your child is not suitable for that particular activity.
Are you sure? Is that
you can see it?
Really? Are you sure? I mean, not every kid should be suitable for that activity.
Not every kid. It's the same thing like we said before. Some things, you know, martial arts is made for people, but not everybody's made for martial arts.
That's
and
right.
That includes children.
Yeah.
That includes children, right? So sometimes some parent has this wonderful idea. Yeah, I'm teaching my kid baseball, teaching my football, and he's going to make it all the way. Right? I'm going to work with him day and night, and then 2 months later, he's doing something else. Right? Because the kid has to decide what's best for him.
Yep.
The kid has to decide what's best for him. So the thing with all these different programs with the kids and things like that is because a lot of the martial arts instructors had a hard time interacting with the children. Especially nowadays, you know, a lot of these things, kids are coming up, you know, being on certain types of spectrums and things like that with autism and Asperger's and stuff like that. And the parents will bring him, so, oh, you know, it would be good for him to have the structure, you know, but if you don't understand how to interact with somebody in that level, it makes it very difficult to teach.
Yep, whatever.
Oh, look,
Fred
Parrish.
Fred Parrish. Haven't seen Fred in a long time.
Wow, come by and visit. Why don't you come by and visit?
Mr. Fred Parrish is actually having twins. I'm not sure. Or he's having 2 babies.
Cool.
So congratulations.
Congratulations, brother. You know, so, you know, Zeno said, you know, it's been done this way for 1,500 years. There's no reason to fix it.
Vinny.
You know, there's no reason to fix it.
Is that sure, Joe?
It's all sure.
It's all sure. How are you?
Thank you, sir, for watching. There's no reason to fix it. what you need to do is educate your instructors on how to interact with the children.
Very much so.
Right?
Yep.
So make it fun. That's what we teach our instructors all the time. Our classes, the kids learn nothing different than what the adults learn.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
The only stipulation is it has to be fun. It has to be fun. So you can make push-ups fun. You can make kicking, punching fun. You can make doing their forms and their weapons. As long as it has that stipulation of fun, the kids are interacting. The kids are on board.
Yep.
You know,
You don't need to go out there and have, somebody who's not even in your system or your style, and they might have a good idea and you can work with that idea, but you don't need to change everything that you're doing and twist it up and water it down just to make it easier and more palatable.
Yeah, to get them to do the same drills.
Yeah, no,
You
not
know,
at all.
the drills in itself are easy enough to learn.
Yep.
It's how you're presenting it and how you're interacting with the student.
If you can't get, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. If you can't get your students to do the techniques, there's nothing wrong with the students. It's how you're teaching.
Or that student just doesn't, it's not for them. They need to do pianos or violin or something. They may not be suitable for martial arts. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. If I have a couple students that come in, and we never turn the student away.
Never.
But we let them realize that, oh, maybe it's not for me. And we do everything in our power to help them, to nourish them, to give them, as long as they want to keep coming, we'll teach them. But eventually it comes to a head where it's just like, you know what? We reach an impasse.
You know what though? But I've never met a child that we couldn't teach.
No.
The only problem that we had was the parents.
Parents.
The parents we had a problem with. We've never met a child that we couldn't teach. But if their child's doing bad or their child's needing more work and all of a sudden the parents interject and the parents are trying to stop what we're trying to do to teach them to get to the next level.
It's like what you said last time, the what you say, the inmates don't run the asylum?
Yeah, the inmates don't run the asylum. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's up to the security guards or the police to run the asylum, right? It's the inmates don't run it. We have to run it. Can't have the parents running it.
Yeah. So when it comes to these different programs and things like that, the parent drops the kid off and they expect you to work miracles. And to develop your child in martial arts, it's a two-way street. It's the same thing in sports.
Sigun Rivera.
Sigun!
How are you, sir?
How are you, sir? Just like you'll take your kid out and work on their pitching and work on their catching and work on this and work on that, you may not be training with them, but certain parents make their kids practice. And certain parents, again, just drop them off like we're a glorified babysitter.
Yeah, and it doesn't work.
Right? So depending on what type of school you have, there's more schools that are more oriented toward children, so the kids are there often. But if you got a traditional school that has kids classes mixed with adult classes, sometimes the kids are only with you 4 hours out of the week, 3 hours out of the week. And then when they go home, you think those kids are practicing. You think the parents is like, do your homework and then practice your martial arts. No. They're like, do your homework, clean your room, play your video games, and then get to bed. It's not even enter into a thought.
Yep.
And then when they come to class, sometimes they miss a couple classes, and then when they get back into class, we got to teach them to them all over again.
So let's go back to understanding the programs for the kids out there. First and foremost, what we're teaching is a martial art. We're not teaching trumpet. We're not teaching violin. We're not teaching music. We're not teaching sewing. We're not teaching anything except martial arts. It's a martial arts school. Regardless if it's any style that you're training. Taekwondo, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Kung Fu, Karate, any style. It is martial arts. It's a martial first. So we're teaching kids how to protect themselves, how to self-empowerment, how to be able to not be bullied, how to be able to be strong and very, very, very assertive in what they need to do to save their life, to save other people, to save their friends, family. Learning martial arts. And it encompasses spirituality, right? Understanding to be spiritual, being physical, being internal, understanding yourself, being self-confident, and helping and sharing others. So this is what we're looking to do as a martial arts school. Now, having programs is great, but if your program is teaching how to jump over stuff and jump over belts and jump over this and jump over that and not teach martial arts to the kids.
It's not conducive to the skills that they need to progress in the system.
If you're practicing jumping, that's one thing. But if your whole school and your whole class for the kids is all about jumping and not, jumping and rolling and not learning the martial arts, then we have a problem. Then you guys are not teaching what you're supposed to be teaching. There should be some kind of martial understanding behind what you're teaching. Yes, we're developing kids. Yes. I understand that. But there has to be martial arts involved. You have to teach martial arts. Or all you're doing is it's a glorified babysitting.
It's
school.
Romper room, basically.
Romper room.
That's what it is.
And that's what you don't want.
Yeah. And that's it in a nutshell. If you stick to what's been done, everything else takes care of itself, because the training gives you the discipline, the training gives you the concentration, the training gives you the physical attributes, it gives you the motor skills, it gives you all of that. Again, it goes back to what student fits with what. Now, certain students at a certain age group would vibe a little bit more. Some need a little bit more cooking on the stove. Some cook a little faster, some don't cook a little faster.
It's all about making cookies,
all
right?
About making good cookies.
Making good cookies.
He uses this analogy. As a matter of fact, he used this analogy tonight. We just had a belt promotion. If you're making cookies, depending on the recipe, there's only one way to make good cookies. You got to take your time with it. You got to get the right portions of the ingredients.
And they got to stay in the oven for a long time.
For a certain amount of time, right? You undercook them, and you're eating raw dough, and you get sick. You overcook them, you're eating bricks.
Yep.
You got to cook them in the right time, right temperature to get the right gooiness and the right texture and the right,
Got to make good cookies, man.
That's basically that's the simplest analogy that this man can come up with.
That's all program.
Yeah,
make good cookies.
We got to patent that.
Make good cookies.
Martial arts is about making good cookies. Right? So everybody out there, you got to make good cookies. Right? Really, there's only one way to make a good cookie. Right? Just like there's only one way to make a good martial artist. Dependent on
get
style,
grimy with it.
Style, getting grimy with it.
Get grimy
with it. Style aside, every single style, you gotta get grimy with it.
Yep. Even the kids, right?
Even the kids.
Yeah.
But it comes off as a fun way. Our kids spar. Our kids work with weapons. Our kids do self-defense.
Yep.
Our kids do all of that.
Yep.
All of that. And they come back for more. And they love it. Right? So, we have, some kids maybe take a little bit longer. Those kids, you separate. You separate by age group. You also have to separate by skill.
Yep. And that's it. That should be your program, is separating the students. But everybody, we don't need to really dumb down the system. We don't need to water down the style. We don't need to make it super, super easy for everybody, because at that point, it's not a martial art anymore. It's not a martial art. We're teaching martial arts. If you want to just be a physical education teacher.
Sensei Rango.
What's up? What's up, Sensei?
Thank you for watching.
When you have all these programs out there, and they're just telling you, just teaching motor skills, it should just be a fitness class at that point. It shouldn't be a martial arts school. It shouldn't be a martial arts class anyway. And you shouldn't teach it as that. It shouldn't be a martial arts program at that point. It should just be a fitness program where you're teaching kids skills for their muscles and muscle coordination and everything else. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're teaching martial arts for 1,500 years, they've been teaching martial arts or longer than that. And it's been working for that long. So don't think that the stuff that people are coming up with now wasn't worked on and wasn't created years ago.
And that's revolutionary. It's going to revolutionize the industry.
Yeah, no such thing.
Like it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, because what's going to happen is you're going to come up in a school and you're going to get all these. I don't have a martial arts program. He said you don't have a kid program. He has a martial arts. I like that.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's a warrior right
that's
there.
That's a warrior. It's like the kids got to get grimy with it, just
Yeah.
like all, everybody else. The only stipulation I have, and I tell my instructors when they teach the kids, is make the kids work.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
and you got kids in there that are certain ages, certain age groups that I know can mentally handle it. I don't sit there and babysit them or hover over them.
Nope.
I tell them, you practice that. Get over there. I'm going to check it in 10 minutes. And when I get over there, it better look good. Oh, yes, you will. That's, it's the same thing. You do the same thing at home. Go clean your room. And I'm checking it in 10 minutes. You don't sit there and hover and give different skills and different ways to clean a room. Get in there, get your ass in there, and go clean that room.
Get grimy with it.
Get grimy with the room.
Yeah.
Don't clean that room. There's no skills. There's no way to educate the kids to clean the rooms or do this. And yes, certain kids, there is documented ways that that certain kids have certain learning disabilities,
Without a doubt,
or certain
Without
spectrums and things like that, and you have to interact with the kids differently. It's the same thing in martial arts. Know your audience. That's what I tell the instructors all the time. You have to know your audience. So if you're in class and you're yelling and you got one kid who's just like, and looks like he's lazy, that kid might be bored. All right, because he might need a little bit more stimulation. Or that kid may not be up to the speed of the rest of the class. So you might have to section them off a little bit and give them a little exercise and a little more confidence.
Yeah, so there's your program. And it's free.
Yeah.
You don't got to spend $300 a month for that.
You ain't gotta buy no books. You ain't gotta buy no programs.
Here's your revolutionary thing.
Yeah,
Teach your students.
Yeah. What do you say? We promote on a skill level, not how many classes they take. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
That's what we're trying to promote here today. So we're not trying to badmouth again. We're not bashing or badmouthing or anything like that. It might sound like that. But we're not.
This is mainly for the parents, because a lot of parents come to me after a while and it's like, well, my kid hasn't tested in like a couple months, and the kid's been with us for like 4 months.
Yeah.
And the kid, he hasn't tested. I don't know, how is he doing? I was like, well, he's doing good. And then I walk away.
That's it.
That's it.
That's the conversation.
That's a conversation, because the parents are not used to their kids not excelling because they're pushed through. The parents are not used to that, because now in the school system we have that.
Yep.
Everybody. No kid fails.
No person gets left behind.
No kid fails. No kids left behind.
Yep.
And I agree with that, but not to the extent where the parent doesn't take some responsibility for that.
Without
and
a doubt.
that's where it's missing. I feel that's where it's getting lax.
You're absolutely correct.
It's getting lax because. Right. Yes, we want our kids to have the best. So when we send them to school, we expect the teachers to do their job. Can I take the elevator to black belt? Yeah,
take the stairs. I'm taking that. I'm going to use that.
He's coming up with these
I know,
singers,
dude.
man.
I'll tell you. Sensei's been around a long time. He's been around a long time.
So, unfortunately, the parents, you got to have to get up off your butts.
Yeah, and hold on, like you said, take responsibility, right? Today's generation, nobody takes responsibility for their actions. And this is all these people with, the armchair warriors, right? After all the videos, and they put their own little 2 cents in, and then you kind of creep on their page and you watch their videos, and these guys can't walk and chew gum at the same time. They haven't seen their toes in like 20 years. But they're going to judge somebody else on their skills when they have 0 skills. See, to me, that's ridiculous. But again, nobody takes responsibility for their actions. And today's generation is that. Today's parents are that. They don't take responsibility. You can't yell at my kid, but I want you to teach my kid how to be a
superstar.
A superstar.
Whatever they're doing.
Or just have discipline, but you can't yell at my kid or else I'm going to sue you. You can't yell at my kid or this is going to happen or this is going to happen. So you're taking away the power of the teacher, right?
You can't fail him.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that. I can't deal with my kid failing. Well, then maybe you should be up a little bit more at night instead of watching Desperate Housewives and watching The Voice and then helping your kid with his homework or helping your kid with it. Well, here's an idea. Making sure that the kid's practicing in the backyard, and then everybody got DVR The Voice, and then make sure the kid's practicing for a couple hours, and then he goes to bed, and then guess what? Then you can watch your Voice. all right, or Desperate Housewives, or whatever you're watching, you know. But it has to be a two-way street when it comes to your kids' training. You know?
Without a doubt. So, the question is do programs work? Yes, programs do work. Certain programs out there are good for the kids. But again, they should be like Sensei said, they should be martial art programs. They should be real martial art programs, not just fitness programs. So, what did he write?
Well, my question to school owners, if you were going to join a school for yourself or for your children, would you join your own school? That's a good question. That's a good question. You know, so a lot, what by saying is these school owners with these programs, you're coming in looking at from the outside in and looking at these programs. Would you join your own school? Would you have your kid join your own school?
Yeah. You got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror. Right? Look at yourself in the mirror every morning.
A lot of these instructors do these programs because it's world renowned because the kids having fun. Not that the kids are actually
learning anything,
but they're having fun, and the kids want to stay. So guess what? Your class starts growing. So it ends up being 50 kids next year to 100 kids, 200, 150, and then you got higher staff. And you got to do this, and guess what? You're making buku bucks by then, you know. And then you got to sift through the kids. How many of these kids actually have any real skill? You know, because you got a class. I don't care how good an instructor you are. You got a class of 200 kids. There's no way that you're looking at every single kid and making sure every single kid has the top-notch skill that they need, need to have. Because guess what, guys? That's your name on that. That's your name on their back. So they got your sweatshirt on, walking down the street with your name on your back, and you haven't evaluated them in terms of martial skill at all, right? So when, God forbid it don't happen, they get their tails kicked, you know, and then they come back to you. They throw that sweatshirt in your face, you know, because you didn't prepare them. And then you get that school gets that reputation.
Then it's your fault.
Then it's your fault.
Yep.
You know, then it's your fault. Right? So, yeah, we don't have 200 kids. Yeah, we got a good kid program. You know how many kids we got? 20. 25. That's what you handle.
And how many adults do we have?
We got like 50, 60, 70 adults.
Yep. We got 65 adults in class.
Yeah.
65 adults and 20 kids.
Yeah.
So.
And most schools make their bread and butter off kids. But the problem with that is you cannot police the quality of your art because, once again, the foremost thing to keep the kids is fun. Right? So it has to be hard, but it has to be fun. You know, so you got to make money, and then with the kids, you got to do all those extracurriculars. You got to have the birthday parties. You got to have sleepovers. You got to have this, which is all well and good. It's camaraderie for the kids. But then you start. What age can they start at?
We start them at 5. We don't start kids any younger than 5.
Yeah.
We don't start them any younger than 5. No way. We used to, but we stopped doing that.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's rough.
It's rough.
You know, so that's what we start them at 5. We don't have a teenage class. No. Any of my kids that make it through the kids and they get into teenage, they go into the adults.
Yeah, at 13.
Yeah, they're adults. I don't treat my teenagers as teenagers. They're adults. We put them in the adult class, and that's the way it is. We have a kids class program. We have an adult class program. You know, and I'm happy with it because you know what, Shifu and I, we get to see every single student. We see how they perform. We see how they move. We see how they fight.
Che! What's up, bro? You missed sash ceremony tonight.
You missed your sash ceremony.
You missed your sash ceremony tonight.
You were supposed to get your red sash. Where were you?
You probably didn't know. It's all good.
Because it hasn't been in class in 2 weeks. Hasn't shown up in 2 weeks after testing.
See? And that's what's missing nowadays in most schools. They don't know each and every student. Right?
Yep.
So you can't have 500 students in a school and know every single one. And you got to be, you know, if you do, and you're kudos to you. You know, we got like 80 students, and it's hard for me to keep track of everybody.
Yep. It's difficult, but you know what? But we make it work.
We make it work.
And all the students work hard. All the students are great. You know, there's a spectrum of great. What is, great is relative, right? So we have a spectrum of how awesome this, to us and to themselves and to their parents and to even the adults that are training. They're all giving it 1,000%. I'm proud of them. Sifu's proud of them. We're so proud of them. But again, it's, we know in our hearts that these students are learning real martial arts, right? Like I always say, train real, get real. Yeah. Bottom line.
And the parents know when the kids come on the floor, that's it. Sit down, get your iPad out, get your phone up, and keep your mouth shut because it's my way on the floor. That's it.
Just got back from Lake
George. Oh, all right.
All right. We'll let it slide this
time. Yeah. So the parents know when it comes time for the kid to train on the floor, it's our way or that's it.
Yeah, our way or the highway. That's it, man.
Our way or the highway. That's it.
Yeah, I don't play that game.
And the parents our parents are not forced, but the parents are made known that when it comes to training and things and ceremonies and for testing and things like that, because in certain programs, in certain martial arts schools, you're on a schedule. So every couple of months, you're testing for another level, So by the time 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, you already went through 5, 6 levels, right? And then that's another problem because the kid is looking for that next level, not looking for the skill. He's looking for that next belt, right? In our school, right, it's a little different. We got testing 2 times a year.
If that. And
it's situated at certain times of the year where we know people are more apt to not come to class.
You just told our secrets.
Told our secret
to the whole population.
Because what? People, have lives. Holidays come around.
So we forced them not to have lives.
We forced them not to have lives. Oh, tests will come around. You better, and if they're hungry, they do the extracurriculars, but as soon as they get back, their butts are in class. Yep. And it's the same thing for the kids. So we tell our parents, this is testing time. Your kid is slated to test. All right? So you got to make sure he's in class. Oh, but we're going away. Oh, go away. But as soon as they get back, you don't want them to fall behind. So you better make sure that they're on their P's and Q's.
Yeah, man.
So the parent is just as responsible in our school.
Yes.
As the children.
Yep. Parents are responsible. All you guys. We love you, but you're responsible. Yes. Just like everybody else. So we all have to work together as a team. So I know we got on this little rant, and we got off the program, just a little, the program. There's that word again. Program.
The program.
But again, the question is do programs work? So yes, I agree. Certain programs do work, but I would say 90% of the programs out there are bogus. They're BS. They're nonsense. And the only thing you're doing is lining their pockets with money. They came up with an idea. They came up with a ridiculous program, and people are sticking with it. And yeah, it's producing a lot of students, but are you really producing a lot of good quality students? And the answer is no. But yeah, you have a room full of 50 kids that, can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Congratulations. Very proud of you. I'm sorry. It's
don't sugar.
Do I sound a little bitter about it?
Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah, I sound a little bitter about it. But yeah, the reality is, guys, is some programs work, some programs don't work. Stay away from the bad programs.
The best program you can do is teach your martial art.
Teach what your teacher taught you and how your teacher taught you, and you'll be just fine. What did Sensei write?
I don't even have a cardio program.
Neither do I, because apparently I was teaching it too difficult. It was too hard. My wife told me to try to make it a little more easier for people, and I did, and it was still too difficult, so I stopped. So, good call on that. Oh, man.
Yeah, so like Sigo said, the programs are there. The program, now if you're looking at the program, you can take some pieces of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some merits. I didn't even get a what? A leotard? Is that what it is?
Leotard with my black. Shane.
to do that. Oh goodness. Oh.
All right, so yeah, so we're gonna head out right now. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening to us rant a little bit. Every week we're trying to get on here, and just again give our opinions. It really doesn't mean much of anything. If you don't like what we're saying, swipe. That's all. Don't need you don't need to listen.
Yeah.
But if there's anybody out there that is generally interested, and wants to learn about what we're talking about. It's really simple. It's not stupid studies here.
And when we're not here to talk negative. This whole thing that we're doing is not. It might sound negative.
It's all in a positive light.
Negative, but it's in a positive light because some instructors are struggling not with their business, but struggling with themselves personally because they know what they're giving. They know they're giving their students false confidence.
Yeah.
But they don't have the integrity to teach the real stuff, and then if the student leaves, they don't care, and then where do they go? They come here, and then what do we have to do? First, we got to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
We got to build them back up.
Yeah.
Before we even teach them anything, we got to build them back up because they've been slighted somewhere.
Yeah.
So. That's it.
That's it, folks.
That's
believe. That's all, folks. But thank you guys very much. Really appreciate everybody that's watching and everybody that's actually giving us positive reviews about what we're talking about. Again, it's all about educating the public. Somebody told me a long time ago, how do we educate the public? Well, we don't educate the public by keeping our mouths shut. We educate the public by getting on here and talking about certain things that might ruffle some feathers, that might upset a couple people, but I don't care. I think that something needs to come to light. I think if we want to build a strong society and we want to build a real society of martial artists again that people can respect, we need to start with ourselves as instructors
and aspire to come to. That's one of the main reasons why I stuck where I stuck, because I saw the people that I saw training coming up and saw my heroes and stuff like that. Zong Creighton, Raul Ortiz, Sir John Moses, this guy,
Sensei Anthony Rango, all these guys.
I've seen people like these guys aspire to become like them.
Yep.
Because they were hardcore, badass. I was like, oh yeah, I want to be
just like
that.
Yep.
So as long as you're coming from that kind of light, you're always going to have students that want to come train with you.
So thank you very much, all the instructors that are out there. Yeah. Thank you so much, the traditional stylists, the non-traditional stylists, all the guys that have been working really hard on their skills, in their skill sets, and doing the right thing, teaching real martial arts, training real, getting real, and getting grimy with it. You guys are my inspiration. You guys are, Shifu Lloyd's inspiration. I've looked up to all of my instructors my whole life, and my obligation to them is this: teaching real, getting real, keeping the martial art alive. So guys, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Everybody out there, all the martial artists out there, thank you so much. Because we're being nice now.
We're being nice.
Guys, have a good night. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Shaolin out.
See you later.